Welcome to Gospel Tangents, the best source for Mormon history, science, and theology, and for his daily Mormon history podcast. I'm Rick Bennett. I'm excited to have Eryj Ben Sassi from Tunisia here on the show. She's going to talk about Philip Beale's voyage to Tunisia as part of his travels to America, and we'll also talk about Mulek. You know, that's a Book of Mormon character, and she has some connections there in Tunisia, so you won't want to miss this conversation. Check it out. So I'm trying to remember... I've seen Yuri Sonata's video, and when Philip Beale was leaving, because he visited Tunisia.
Exact. This is how I know him.
Oh, were you there? That's what I was going to ask.
This is how I met him.
Okay.
So in 2019, we received the ship and the crew, and we prepared a big reception.
It was a big reception.
Yes, it was a big reception.
Because it didn't even make the newspaper here in America, I don't think. But it was a big deal in Tunisia.
Yeah, but in Tunisia, a lot of newspaper talked about this event, media. It was very important for us, and we have the support of our government, our Minister of Culture, our Minister of Tourism also, and a lot of organization, companies believe in this project, and also an association of Marines.
Okay.
So we made the reception there, and we took all the crew members to visit Carthage, to visit the Colosseum of El-Jam, and we were invited in Prince's house. He is a descendant of the last Bey of Tunisia, so he have a small museum, private museum in his house.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And he invited all the group to his house, and we ate Tunisian food, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I bet.
So after this event, I followed personally the ship until Essaouira, Morocco, where we organized with Essaouira Mogador, an association in Essaouira, which is chaired by Mr. André Azoulay, who is the advisor of His Majesty the King of Morocco. And he also have the same values that we want to highlight our history.
Okay.
So he was like amazed by receiving Phoenicia ship and the crew. They organized also a big reception and a tour in Essaouira, and from that time, Essaouira, I lost. It was the last time I saw the Phoenicia ship.
Okay.
With my eyes. I still, when I look like this, I have this image of a Phoenicia ship leaving the port of Essaouira.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That was interesting.
But I followed also the ship until it arrived to Florida. I tried to help, but it was very difficult to help from Tunisia to find a place for her in Florida. Hopefully, there's some Lebanese who helped the Phoenicia to have a place to coast.
Okay. And so this was a big news. And and I know Philip had a satellite phone so that he could communicate, but really there wasn't much communication going on. And so I guess they must have had a generator for batteries and things because I know Yuri had a camera, so he had to keep the camera going.
Yes, exact.
And so they had a few modern amenities that the ancient Phoenicians probably didn't have.
Yes, exactly.
But, do you remember how long it took so the last stop was in Morocco?
Yes.
Until I guess they landed somewhere before Florida.
Yes, before, so from Morocco they went to Tenerife.
Okay.
And from Tenerife, I think I left. They left Morocco, I think, 1st of November, and 1 week after they arrived to Tenerife,
Okay.
I think, if I have a good memory.
And that was their last stop before
Yes.
a long
journey. But Captain Beale and Jury, they will give you more information about this. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think they stood in Is it right? Yes, they stood in Tenerife about 10 days, maybe.
Okay.
Or 2 weeks, and after the journey crossing the Atlantic started. So they stayed there, I think, 5 weeks, 6 weeks before arriving to Caribbean.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, very
Caribbean.
good.
Yes,
I can't
Caribbean.
imagine going for 6 weeks and not seeing land.
And I was every day looking on internet because we have the link.
Oh, you had a tracker?
I have a tracker. So every day I say, oh yeah, they are moving forward. Some people they didn't believe that they could reach the Atlantic. Some people say to me, they will die in the Atlantic.
Well, and I was eavesdropping on a conversation between Boyd Tuttle and Rod Meldrum, and Boyd talked about almost going overboard one time with a big wave.
Yeah.
And I need to get Boyd on.
Yes, Boyd and all the crew, also Yuri, because he lived the whole experience from
he did it twice.
Exactly, the first experience and the second one.
Yeah.
Vera Senada, but also you have Doug and Carson, his son, Boyd. Yeah.
Yeah, I just met them
Unfortunately
yesterday.
for me, I wasn't a crew member, but that's okay.
Well, and since you mentioned his last name was Petty, I think. Carson Petty and his dad, can't remember his dad's name. But they live close to me, and I just met them yesterday.
They are here. They are here,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you can.
And so I'll have to get them on, get their
Yes, you
experiences
should.
too.
Yes.
So I want to jump back to the name Mulek, which is a name that people in my church know, but it has a special meaning for you. And can you tell us, what does the name Mulek mean?
Okay, when I talked first time about Mulek, I didn't know about him before.
Right.
Okay, so last time when I came first time to the US and I was talking with John, so he explained to me about Mulek, and I was
John Lefgren.
John Lefgren, president of the Heartland Research. So that I thank him really for what he did with Betty LaFontaine and with Mike LaFontaine and with all members of the Heartland Research, because if they didn't believe in Phoenicianship, we will be not here today discussing.
That's for sure.
So, so he explained to me about Mormons and Mulek and Lehi and Lehi. So now I know. And I said to him, oh, you know that Mulek, it's remembering something in Tunisia. We have a lot of boys whose name are Melek.
Okay.
Melek is the king.
Okay. And so...
Or I just get it now, or the angel.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
It have the same meaning, but it's depend the way you spell it in Arabic.
Okay.
Okay. So, and when he talked to me about Mulek, it was like differentiation of pronunciation. You understand me? So he said to me that he left Jerusalem 600 BC.
Right.
I told him he cannot reach America without passing through Jerba and through Carthage. It's impossible. It's really impossible. They should make the pause there, okay? But what I think is a personal opinion of what happened. So when the temple was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar, as I told you, this is true that a lot of Levi and Cohen came to stay in Tunisia, in Jerba.
Okay.
So it was the same date of that Mulek left Jerusalem. Mulek, he is the son of the king.
Okay. Zedekiah?
So maybe Nebuchadnezzar don't know about the existence of Mulek. Maybe he was still baby. Maybe his mother was pregnant of him. Because I joined this idea to the story of Al-Ghriba, of Jerba, the synagogue of Jerba. The synagogue of Jerba has the name of Al-Ghriba, the foreigner, or the stranger. Okay. So they said, people said that Al-Ghriba, the synagogue, the name of the synagogue, it's about a woman who came from Jerusalem, who bring with her part of Jerusalem doors, or part of the Bible, of a stone from the temple, something like that.
Okay.
This is a version. The second version that the synagogue was burned.
Okay.
And she lived. She was inside and she lived. Okay. So if we join Mulek and synagogue, it makes sense. For me.
Yeah.
So this is why we want to do more researches about this, about Mulek.
That's really interesting, because I know a lot of the people in the Heartland group think that the Mulekites came from Jerusalem, easily could have stopped in Tunisia on their way to the Americas.
And they think they came there to Jerba because they know if the mother came or with her baby, okay, because they know there's people, they will protect them there.
Okay. So it's
and
interesting.
Maybe he was growing up there before going to America.
Okay.
Because you know that Cohen and Levi, they are the people who know about the Bible, the protector of the Bible and the temple.
Right.
Okay, so maybe they protected him. They give him knowledge.
Okay.
Okay, and after that, I don't know what's happened. I have some ideas, but I will not tell you now.
Oh, come on.
Because I don't know this part of the history.
Okay.
I guess to myself, maybe Nebuchadnezzar knew about the existence of Mulek, and they want to kill him in Jerba, and this is how he left Jerba and Tunisia.
Okay.
To reach a new place, and why he want to go to America. He don't know why. He don't know about America, because only Carthaginians know about the existence of a land called at that time America. And who knows?
Oh.
You understand?
So you think that when Mulek came from Jerusalem to Jerba,
yes,
that the Phoenicians had already been going to America?
Exact. Phoenician, Carthaginian, all of them. We call the Phoenician. So yes, I believe in this. This is how, maybe, this is my story, okay? You know, when you succeed, when you make something good, people talk. So when that people reached America, what we called America, okay? So this population know that some navigators went somewhere, okay? Nobody lives there, maybe, or few population live in America, okay? So maybe he have this information. This is how he went to my thinking. So he went from Jerba to Carthage, and from Carthage, he chose a sailor, okay, and the ship, and moved to America.
Okay.
This is how I imagine it. I believe in it.
Okay.
I believe in it, and I want to do more research about this with people who know for sure, expert of the Book of Mormon, and expert of the Bible, expert of, this project. We need more expert to think, but we should be open for a lot of opinion.
Okay. And so I'm just curious. So it sounds like you've got a lot of synergy, I guess, with the Heartland Research Group, because they believe that Mulek came from Jerusalem and eventually to America. And you, have you always believed this? Is this something that Tunisians have believed for a long time?
Yeah. So I had a conversation with a big historian in Tunisia called Madame Jeanne Zawali. Okay, she's a very famous historian, and she said to me, "We know that Carthaginians went to America. It's sure, but we don't have the proof because Carthage was destroyed."
So you think that proof may have been in Carthage and the Romans took it with them?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Or destroyed it or
destroyed
it,
yes.
Yeah.
But the thing is that when I met Betty Lafontaine and the group of the Heartland Research, this is very impressive for me. When I met her, I found a lot of similarities between our people and her people. In traditions, our culture, especially between women. Women always protect the tradition and the culture. And we have like ancestor, a very ancient tradition, very ancient. So how these people have the same tradition with us?
Yeah, I was talking to Betty and she was telling me the same thing last night.
Exact. Yeah. It's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
It cannot be a coincidence. So for me, all this story makes sense.
Okay. And so your organization's working with the Heartland Research Group
to prove this.
Yeah, and to strengthen the ties there.
Exactly.
So, and is it true the Tunisian government wanted Philip Beale's ship, but John beat him to it?
Is it true?
Yeah, the Tunisian government wanted to buy Philip Beale's ship.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
yes, the municipality of Carthage said to him, we would like to buy the ship after you finish your journey, your expedition.
Yeah.
To make a museum.
Right.
But I think the Heartland Research were
well, because I remember. Because Philip landed in Florida, I want to say it was February of 2020.
February 2020, yes.
And then that's right when the pandemic hit America really hard.
Exactly.
And so they were like, you got to get out of here. And so he went back to England, just left the ship there in Fort Lauderdale, I believe.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
And then Michael LaFontaine and Betty and John said, hey, we want to buy it since it's here.
Yes. This is genius from them.
Yeah.
For me, I think that the mission of the Phoenicia is not only proven that the Phoenicians could reach America before Columbus. It's bigger than this.
Okay.
Bigger. I think it's the time came to prove that our two people are the same people.
Okay. And I know last night, Betty, and I'm trying to remember what it was called, but there was this, I think she called it a Lulu.
Yes, Lulu.
And
Lulu,
you guys...
you say, we said in French, we say you. And in Tunisian, we say Zagrita.
With the native people, we celebrate times with something we call a Lulu. I will do the Lulu for you.
Oh, okay. Ah, Lulu, we have our Lulu also. Yes.
Yeah, we do. Do yours. When the ship landed in Fort Lauderdale, I heard that familiar sound. And I was like, what is that I hear? That's the Lulu. Our people do the same thing.
Yes.
So when we had a reception, one of the ship crew, she was from Lebanon.
Yes, Shema, yes.
Shema.
Remember
She did the call and I did it back to her and she looked at me and, wow, where did that come from? Native Americans celebrate. That's what we do. We do the Lulu. For celebration, for warriors when they come back from hunting with hopefully much, but this is the Lulu.
This is the same thing for us.
Zalwota.
It's how we celebrate and how we show our joy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, same thing that we natives do that. There we go. We're coming together with two cultures. Amazing, beautiful, beautiful.
How many languages do you speak?
So I speak Tunisian.
Okay.
Okay, for me it's a language, but it's a dialect. Okay, but I think it's more language because it's a mixture of a lot of language.
Okay.
A lot of language. So we have Tunisian language. We call it before the lingua franca.
Okay.
It's a mixture of Arab language, of Maltese from Malta,
Okay.
Italian,
Okay.
Latin,
Okay.
okay, French, Spanish, okay, maybe African.
You really are a melting pot.
Yeah, we are, exactly.
Yeah.
So Tunisian language, Arabic language, French, and a little bit English.
Well,
I'm not that good.
I would hate to do an interview in any other language than English.
But I hope to speak better.
Oh, you do great.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Eryj Ben Sassi of Tunisia. She's the president and founder of Association des Dons de Carthage, and we're going to talk about the relationship between the United States and Tunisia, which goes back a lot farther than you think, but it's only available to newsletter subscribers. So subscribe to our free newsletter at gospeltangents.com/newsletter, and you can hear the final part of our conversation.
2 years after, Tunisia recognized the independence of the United States of America in 1779.
Thanks for listening, and I hope you to continue to enjoy Gospel Tangents. Consider becoming a Patreon or go to gospeltangents.com/shop, and you can get a cool tie, a hat, or even a nice mug. You can also get a sweatshirt. So check it out at gospeltangents.com/shop.